Hey guys, it's Lynx Savage back here. Okay, so we're talking about the last part of my one-day series, which is, I'm calling the playlist. Then you really might know what it's like. If you know the reference, great. Otherwise, I welcome you back, and the day has ended. I made it through the day, my first day, concealed carry, and I'm not dead, and neither is anyone else. Go fig, right? So throughout the course of the day, I've been kind of giving my impressions or my feelings or trying to share my experience being a beginner in terms of concealed carry up here in Massachusetts, where it's very tough to get a license. And like I said, or at least in the first video, that these kinds of things are lacking on the internet, trying to find those experiential videos. So here it is. So, yes, I made it through the rest of my day. Early in the morning, got in the car, was not uncomfortable. That's the first video. Drove to work, was extremely calm, and it was comfortable to wear. It didn't bother me at all. I kind of forgot that it was actually there physically. Mentally, I knew it was there. But physically, I kind of forgot it was there. I just didn't really feel it. Then I got to work and, went through the first half of the day and everything was fine. Went to the bathroom because that's one of people's big concerns is, what do I do with my gun in the bathroom? I didn't even have to take it out, off I didn't have to take the holster off my belt. I just left it on there and boom. And that was all fine. I didn't print at all. No one noticed. And if they did, they didn't say anything. Made it through the last half of the day just fine. Like I said in the previous video, I was kind of just petrified that this thing might go off, which is a silly fear to have, because the reality is that your gun doesn't go off unless the trigger has been engaged. Now, for those of you who Mexican carry, and that's not racist, so deal with it. Those of you who Mexican carry, or those of you who just toss it in your pocket, yeah, I can see how you can accidentally shoot yourself for the simple fact that things are in your pocket, fingers go in your pocket. You might accidentally hit that trigger, and that's not a good thing. I can't appendix carry, mostly because my man bits are there, and I appreciate those a lot. Not even just from getting blown the hell off, but from having this big metal thing jabbing into them. Not my idea of a good time, so I don't do it. I carried right on my hip, but everything was fine. The commute home, fine, totally comfortable. There was no need to be nervous. There was no need to be apprehensive because it really is a safe device for a device of destruction. Think about it this way. When you're driving your car, you're actively using that vehicle. It's in motion. You're touching it. You have the potential to kill a lot of people with that vehicle. It is very important for you to be completely present when you're driving, sober when you're driving, stuff like that. Understandable. Car's nothing but a tool. Well, a gun's a tool, but the reality is you're not using it. You don't touch it. You leave it alone. It sits in a holster on your side. That's it. The danger I would gather, or at least from what I can glean logically, is from people touching the fucking gun. They're taking it out of the holster. They're leaving plenty of opportunity open to mistakenly hit that trigger. As long as you leave the gun the hell alone, you're fine. How do I dress? Okay, so it's very interesting. From the first video, one of my friends watched it because obviously no one's on this channel yet. But he was just kind of like, well, Jesus, how the hell are you dressing that you're able to conceal a gun, blah, 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 blah. Because I don't wear loose-fitting anything, except for what I call an overshirt. So a habit from when I was a teenager was to hide my fat by layers. Layering clothes. Now, I'm also, Gen X. So we were all about layers and flannel and shit like that. We're Gen X. It's what we did. Look back at the 90s and look at how they dressed. So while I grew up, parts of how I dressed did not. I can wear a pair of respectable jeans, a t-shirt, but I always have a button down over my t-shirt. Now, the button-down's never closed. It's always open. And, of course, I'm sorry for all the skin, but it's hot as fuck up here. But I dress like that anyway. I dress like that all year round. So I understand that some people don't. And if I didn't have that shirt over my T-shirt, I would have printed all the hell. Because I don't wear loose-fitting clothes. So I can imagine that if you are a beginner and you're afraid of printing, one of the things you really do have to consider is how you dress. You want to dress appropriately for the season, obviously. You don't want to walk around looking like, a big pink dildo walking around in the middle of the street. Everyone will see you. Everyone will notice you, right? Well, you don't want to walk around in the summer in a pair of long pants and a hoodie and a jacket. You just don't do it, right? So, the way I dress, it's appropriate. I mean, the shirts that I wear over are short sleeve shirts in the summer, long sleeve shirts in the winter. But really, I didn't print at all. I barely even noticed it was there. I would say the only times I had to touch it in any way was to adjust it. And that wasn't the gun itself. It was actually the holster. Let me show you the holster that I got. It's a Blade Tech holster. This is the one that they had for the Smith & Wesson Shield. Obviously, it is empty. There's no magazine in there, no bullets in there. It's just here chilling. I basically unloaded it for the video. I don't want to touch a loaded gun for any reason really outside of using it. If I'm going to shoot it, fine. If I'm going to have to defend myself, fine. Otherwise, I don't want to touch it. So I unloaded it just for the video, just so that way I'm not touching a loaded gun. As soon as the video's over, I will be reloading this, putting it back in the holster, and the holster goes back on my hip, and it stays with me for the rest of the day. I did order a Blade Tech holster for the VP9, and it was one of, I think they call it Total Eclipse series or something like that, where I can configure it to be outside the waistband for when I'm at the range, inside the waistband for just conceal carry. Because what I have noticed with that gun is, unloaded obviously. I put it in my pants, and I don't print with it with the way I dress, and that's a full-size gun, so I kind of got lucky with that. So I probably will end up carrying that an awful lot too. I might end up just carrying them both. But I'm waiting for that to come in. It's a really cool thing. It's like 6 different configurations all in one, and I can configure it any way I want to. So, yeah, whatever. But that's been my day. You forget about the gun. You forget about the people around you. You do your job. You live your life a normal way. So that's been my experience. One day, that's it. You get 4 videos all about how this didn't affect or impede my life in any way, shape, or form. Like I said, I'm not a small guy. And it wasn't uncomfortable to wear. So if anyone else was having their things or wanted to find someone talking about what it was like, it was very calming. I've never felt safe before in my life, so a lot of the habits that you should have as a gun owner, I already have as a gay black male. Things like situational awareness. My biggest belief at this point in time, well, it kind of sort of always has been, is that if you're a part of a targeted group, you need to defend yourself. You need to know some form of self-defense. Hand-to-hand combat. Know how to use a knife. Know how to use a gun. Because you are a targeted group. It's a sad state of affairs here in America where, yes, we got our rights, but something that gay people are starting to see, which is the same thing that black people started to see when black people were given full rights, is the backlash from the people who didn't want them to have those rights. So you have things, you still have people, saying faggot and kill all the gays and everything else. You also have things to consider like the crazy closet cases, such was the case in Orlando. I kind of always felt like, hey, if you're a gay person, at least know how to fight. At least know some physical hand-to-hand combat because you're going to need to protect yourself. Someone's going to be out there trying to hurt you. It's just the life of a gay person. And when you live that way, you kind of get used to a lot of the habits that they actually have in common with concealed carry. Things like avoidance. You want to avoid situations. You want to avoid stupid situations with stupid people. As a gay person, you learn pretty quickly how to judge a situation, how to judge an area, how to be very aware of what's going on around you, especially if you've never been to this place before. So, a lot of people would mistake me for a cop because I was always looking around. I was always looking for something or someone, just being very hyper vigilant about my environment. So I already had that. Boom. De-escalation. I don't want to have to fight anybody. I'm not a violent person. So I don't want to fight. I took hand-to-hand combat. I know how to fight. Big guy, small guy, and guess what? You learn the techniques, you can still fight. I was big with blades, swords, knives, love them to death, learned how to use them. I know how to use a sword, know how to use a knife. I don't want to have to do it, but I can if I need to. And I just kind of, the gun was the next step. You can't walk around carrying a sword. When you think about the things that happen, a lot of these incidents happen in what is considered a gun-free zone. Gun-free zones really are what the proprietor wants, not a law. And as far as I'm concerned, if it's not a law, you're not allowed to impede on my ability to protect myself. So, if I needed to go somewhere, it's a concealed weapon. They don't know about it. It's not there. That's life. But, yeah, things like hypervigilance, de-escalation. If you try to fight me, I'm going to try to talk my way out of it before I have to come to blows. I would rather not have... Now, my big thing was I would cuss you out if I'm driving. I will cuss you out, read you from Genesis to Revelations. I will read your ass. What's funny is that knowing in my head that I've got this deadly thing on my hip, I don't want any kind of confrontation. So I actually found myself being very calm driving home even. And the rush hour at the end of the day is what gets me the most. And I was actually really calm driving home. So that was it. That's the whole thing. I would say if you have an interest in getting a weapon, go for it. Go for it. Definitely take a safety course. I know in a lot of states they're not required, and the Constitution doesn't require it, and people have been using guns for hundreds and hundreds of years without a safety course. But it's very easy to make. It's very easy to have an accident. It really is. And if you can take a course that can give you those that framework, that foundation of safety, you'll be a lot safer. So definitely take a gun safety course. And if you feel so inclined afterwards, take a shooting course. You definitely join a gun club. There's no point in owning this gun if you don't know how to shoot it, if you're not proficient at shooting it. You don't want to shoot yourself. So you want to do things like practice taking it out of the holster, putting it back. You want to do dry fire practice, get yourself some snap caps or something. You want to take it to the range and you want to put bullets through it. You want to shoot it. You want to know what it feels like to shoot it. You want to get accurate at shooting it. So definitely go for it. It's a skill that I feel, personally, is a good survival skill. Know how to make fire without a lighter. If you know how to make fire without a lighter and matches, you're ahead of the game. Know how to identify plants. Know how to make and find shelter. These are just those basic things that I feel like people should know. You don't have to actually do them every day or practice them or anything else, but just know them. Know what poison ivy looks like so you don't eat it or wipe your ass with it. Know how to start a fire. You might find yourself in a situation where you need to. Things like that. Know how to purify water without anything aside from plastic and a bottle or some kind of container. Learn these things. And one of those other things you should learn is how to use a gun. How to identify that gun. If you are in a situation without the rule of law, which could very easily happen if someone like Trump gets into office, or fuck, it could happen with Hillary. I can't stand that bitch either. But if you find yourself in a situation without the rule of law, you're your only hope. You're your only protection. If you find a gun, you should know how to identify that gun. If you find a gun and you don't know what kind of rounds to put in it, what use is it going to do you? If you find a gun and you don't know how to rack it, you don't know how to clear it, you don't know how to load it, what good is it? So these are just things to know. Things, it just sort of, boom, things that you should have in your head as a person. And as a gay person, you should have some form of self-defense. I don't even care if it's pepper spray at this point. Find something. But that's all I got for you guys today. I plan on, or hopefully we'll be able to get to the range this week and put a lot of rounds through this gun and the VP9. The VP9 currently, because I don't have a holster for it, is my bedside gun. So it's sitting in the bedroom on the nightstand doing its thing. So that's it. Stay tuned for a review on this. Stay tuned for a review on this. And stay tuned for a review, an actual review on the belt, because I've been wearing it. And yeah, I'll be reviewing it shortly. So that's all I got for you guys. It'll probably be a once a week thing as I get to go through using the guns. I'll see if I can get some video at the range, you know, putting the guns through their paces, and just kind of learning and showing you guys what I learned. And as I learn, you learn, and everyone learns, and people are no longer afraid of these things. I'll also try to do other things, like as news stories come up, try to talk about them. Not just news stories of these fatal, horrible shootings, but also the news stories of the things that they don't show you nationwide. And if they do show you nationwide, they only show it once. Things like when concealed carry holders stop these types of events from happening. 1 or 2 people might get shot, but that's a hell of a lot better than an entire club of people dead. So, news like that, I will go around. Anytime there's weird legislations or new laws, stuff like that, you know, things that I just kind of feel the need to discuss and give my opinion on, they'll be right here on this channel. So hopefully you like, subscribe, share. Anytime I do a review or first impressions, the link will be in the description below. I've also finally put in my social media stuff in there, so you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, or what's the other one? Instagram. So, you know, there'll be gun stuff there too, but those places are not strictly guns. Those places are going to encompass everything. You know, I'm a car guy, so there'll be a lot of car stuff on there. You know, if you haven't been to my other channel, which is kind of a mishmash of everything, mostly pop culture and news and nerd stuff, you know, that's there. So on my other social media stuff, the Facebook, the Twitter, the Instagram, you'll find a plethora of things, not just gun stuff. Otherwise, come back to this channel, all guns, all the time. Until then, I'll see you guys later.